This is episode 21 for Motivation Monday. We are pleased to have you here. We're going to get to know you a little bit more. First of all, congratulations on all your success. I know you just got back from LA.
Oh, yes, just got back from LA. It was a great trip.
Okay, good. How long were you there for?
Last trip, I was just there for 2 weeks, kind of just doing a little bit of work and play. But yeah, it was a nice 2 weeks. It was cold, but you know.
Okay, introduce yourself. Welcome to Motivation Monday. This is a platform where we help people understand self, purpose, passion, and finances. So, my brother Max, the speaker, is a great motivational speaker, and we started this about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I sat down with him in a McDonald's, and he helped change my life around. So
I love that.
here we are giving back to the people. And then introduce yourself, and then we'll get right into it.
So my name is Sasha Gay. People call me Sasha. I was born and raised in Toronto and Brampton. For those who will beat me up if I don't say that. I'm a designer. I'm an influencer. I am a daughter, a sister. I'm pretty much you, but someone who's really just gone after everything that I wanted. I'm really good at a lot of things. I went to school for theater, so I thought I was going to be an actor, but God put me in a different path right now. So I'm just following it. I'm just putting one foot in front of the other.
Nice. You are the owner and creator of 3 different brands. I see No Nails.
Mm-hmm.
You got Plaza Couture, of course, and then you got Debbie's Kitchen.
Deddys Kitchen, yeah.
So
yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how that came to part, and we can break it down into 3, and then myself and Max the speaker will ask you certain questions, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so Plaza Couture. Plaza Couture, I started it when I was about 18, 19. I was just blogging at the time. There was no Instagram there. Facebook was newer, right? Because we got it during high school. And basically I was just writing about how annoying it was that I couldn't find clothes that were age appropriate and poppin' and sexy for my body. At the time I was plus size. I still am plus size. And I was just annoyed. So I would just be doing like entries on my blog about it. And giving people that looked like me options through thrifting or whatever. And then eventually I was just like, okay, no one cares about the plus size community, so I'm gonna have to start making my own thing. So I kind of started dabbling, going up to the t-shirt shop, the guys up the road who printed shirts and whatnot. And for years I did that and kind of just started many conversations with the things that I would put on shirts. And it kind of just took off. Like when Instagram came around, I remember, putting out my first shirt with my business partner at the time, who, we both put out a shirt, and it was called, it said "Pretty for a Big Girl" with a question mark at the ending. And a lot of people were kind of like, yeah, like people always tell me I'm so pretty for a big girl, right? And so once we realized that it wasn't just something that we dealt with, that so many people dealt with it, realized that it was something that we should be pushing. And then we put the shirt out one night, and then we woke up and there were like over 100 orders. That was the first time that I had ever experienced, oh, okay, so there's something that I have that people want. So that kind of pushed me into that area. And so ever since, I've been designing, and I've just been growing and taking it a step at a time. I really don't follow anybody's lead. I kind of just do my own thing and just allow God to grow it in the way that He sees fit.
Amen to that. And Max, I'll let you speak on this, because Max is a doer. Like, he's like, sometimes you just got to get it done. Sometimes you're not waiting for the perfect timing or perfect moment.
I connect with Max on that. Yeah, because that's real. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I have a lot of people in my life even still who are like, oh, I got to make sure that it's perfect. I'm like, it's never going to get to that point. You're always going to figure out a reason why this is not perfect. And it probably isn't perfect, but that's why it's perfect to do right now, right? Because you're going to keep on growing, and you're going to look back at that, and you're going to be like, bro, like, look where I came from, right? So you got to just go for it sometimes.
Amen to that. And I mean, I don't know if you remember how we met. I used to work at Foot Locker. Do you remember?
I'm vaguely remembering, because when you told me, I was like, oh my gosh. It's so funny because so many of us worked in Bramley. Like so many of us working, even like my fashion.
Yep. Working
Like,
at Family City Center too.
it's
He was here last
crazy.
week
He
actually.
was, I know, and it's just like crazy to see that so many of us who are doing great things in our own respective areas are all from Bramley City Center.
Well, Max is from the Jada Finch community, so
Okay.
but you know
Big up
he's been
Jada
connected
Finch.
with the Brampton family, so
Big up
Good
Jane
morning,
and Finch
Dabble in
always.
Brampton. You mentioned something about perfection, because usually I advise people about perfection equals paralysis, meaning if you wait and wait for the perfect moment, you never get going. I want you to specifically talk about like the triumphs, like the idea of like desire wanting the perfect thing is what keeps us going. So I want you to talk specifically about, regardless that you weren't getting the results immediately that you wanted, because in most business that's what most people will face, what kept you going?
So yeah, like for years, you could even argue that I still don't have what I want fully right now, right? But what keeps me going is my reason, right? I always remember why I started. I started because there were no options for plus size girls like myself to look good. I always feel like the baddest bitch in the room. I still do, right? The issue is that a lot of people will tell you that you're not because you have a different body shape or a different body size or whatever. My goal has always been to prove, used to be to prove to everyone else, right? That no, that's not the case, because you've been told this your whole life. You're not good enough, your body is not right, you're too this, you're too that, you're too this, you're too that. And now it's more just proving myself every day over and over again that really I do have all that it takes. You know, I am gorgeous, I am beautiful, but now I also get to help people dress themselves in the way that I've always wanted to dress. Like, it's just not for thin women, it's for all of us. And so that's kind of what kept me going, because regardless if I got 5 orders or 500 orders, I'm still going to be pushing for that girl who needs it, you know?
wow, so inspirational. And it's so crazy because me, I'm thinking about the 10 years, like from when I first met you, and you just had that aura. Was it Pickle Bear?
Pickle Barrel.
Pickle Barrel, sorry, Bramley City Center.
Shout
I
out
was
to
working
Pickle
at
Barrel Bramley.
I was working at Foot Locker at that time, and you know, you were just the vibe, the aura. So like now that I think about it, I'm not surprised where you are, and we'll get into all of that right now because you always had that aura, you always stood out, and you're always a people person. And I think sometimes being entrepreneurs, I want people to understand the important part of like being nice, saying hello, having that energy. So let's speak about energy. Like, what does energy mean to you when it comes to meeting new people? I know now you're over 160K on Instagram, so people pop up. Even in Ghana, we have people coming up to you. So it's
Ghana
like,
was great.
how how do we help people get that energy? Because some people are just not like that. Like, I know so many talented people.
Yeah,
My
but they're
brother
not.
Randy, he's very enormous in the industry, but he's just shy guy. You don't know him, you're not getting that vibe from him.
Yeah. So the question was, how do I like energy? Like, how important is for me? Like, energy is everything. Like, I do not collaborate with people. I do not do things with people. I do not connect with people if I feel like their energy is off. It's just not something that I'm interested in doing, because to me, it's God's first initial like flag saying to me, person, you're not vibrating on the same frequency, you know? And I just, back in the day when I was younger, I would still force myself through those things. But as you get older, you realize, no, that's like God, that's God doing the work for you and saying, hey, like, steer clear of this type of person or this type of energy, because it doesn't match with what you're doing, where you're going, and who you are. So I'm very sensitive to those things. You know, you could be the coolest person in the room. You could be the one that everybody wants to get beside. I do not care. Because I'm a big deal myself, and I'm a big deal spiritually, and I have to protect that always.
And right now it's 11:11. So what we usually do is, a lot of people say make a wish.
Yes.
We do affirmation. So I'm gonna say an affirmation and then we'll break it down.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah. So to this one, our affirmation today is: to me, beauty is about being comfortable in your own skin. It's about knowing and accepting who you are. Love yourself. It is important to stay positive because beauty comes from the inside out. So I'll repeat it again. To me, beauty is about being comfortable in your own skin. It's about knowing and accepting who you are. Love yourself. It is important to stay positive because beauty comes from the inside out. Now break that down. When you hear that, when you read that, what comes to mind?
Exactly what was said. Like, it comes from within, so you have to really love yourself and love who you are, and then you'll exude that, right? But if you hate yourself, if you're self-loathing, you don't like who you are, if you don't like, it's all mustered up on the inside, and it can only come through your pores as just that, right? You're only gonna be that. So you kind of have to really truly have a relationship with yourself, love yourself, and then you'll be able to give that to others, and people will be able to see that in you.
Hmm. Max, what's your thoughts on that?
That's on it. Like everything that she's been speaking about last week, one of my gems was confidence is not if they like me. Confidence is I'll be fine, even if they don't like me.
Period.
Right, and that's the take home message. And self esteem is built within the first 7 years of your life. After that is how the kind of people that you hang around with. And if you often look to find the answers from other people, most people don't know where it is that you're going. They'll lead you astray. So we never look for others to fill the void. We always look within ourselves. So we're not always looking for other people to like us, but rather is even if they don't, I'll still be fine.
Ooh. Guys, let's get some fire emojis in the combo. We are actually live on YouTube. So I know we're over here in the cut. You may not see me cut up.
Yes, Maxwell. Yeah.
Maxwell.
Yeah, he's hard. He's super hard.
I love it.
And so we're live on YouTube right now. So to everybody, you can click the link in our bio, subscribe to our YouTube channel right now to make sure you capture everything. Because I know we have the angles. We're making sure we get the Plaza Couture here live and direct. But everybody head to the YouTube page. You can watch it whether you're at work, home, chilling, your convenience. We know how important YouTube is. You've taken YouTube by the storm. So, we need some help over here. We need some help.
Okay.
So, we're going to have that conversation. But we do know today's the last day of Black History Month. But to me, Black History Month is every month. It's every day, literally.
Yes, every single day. That's why I don't snap. People are always like, you didn't do anything for Black. I said, I am Black every single day. And I am celebrating this every day. With every business that I work with the people that I connect with, that I work with. So I totally get that. I get that.
Now let's talk about the big show that you were part of that you won.
I won.
Yes, yeah. Just break it down to us. You were out in LA. Mm-hmm. Give us the whole breakdown of how that was, the procedure, and then obviously congratulations now, but let the people know as well.
Thank you. Okay, so basically last I want to say June, May, June, I found out that there was going to be a competition, Shein. I'm not sure if I'm sure you guys know
big
who
brand.
Shein is. Shein is the #1 retailer in the world right now, so you definitely know who Shein is. But I found out that they were going to be doing a competition with designers, with hundreds of designers across the globe. And basically the challenge was to create a collection that went with their theme, Be Bold, Be Bright, Be You, submit it, and pretty much just continue on in the competition as they throw you like curveballs and all kinds of stuff. So I decided that my assistant and I decided that we would take part. And so we did. I'm not really a competition type of person, so I was really iffy about it. But we still did it. And long story short, in September we won. Plaza Couture won. So I won $100,000 towards my.
That's a big 6 figures. It's something that you weren't thinking of doing.
It wasn't something I was thinking of doing, and I think that's probably why I was so amazed by it too. And I think it's it's a testament to, like, sometimes you have that little feeling, just go for it. Like Max said, like you can't just, because I really thought at the time, I'm like, I'm not ready to compete against hundreds of designers. I'm not on that level. Like, that's what I was telling myself, is that I just know that I'm not on that level. I'm not ready. Yes, I'm a designer, but I'm not that type of designer yet. Because your mind starts to play games on you, and you start to compare yourself, even if you're not the type to compare yourself. You'll start saying, oh, well, look at them and look at them and look at them. They've been, they do it this way and I do it this way. But thankfully, I was ballsy, okay? And I just went in there and I just did the damn thing. And, like, just like you were talking about with your affirmation, like, when you are a beautiful person, I think it also adds to the whole experience, right? Just have to be positive, and you have to think positively, and you have to go into these situations thinking about more than just the money. For me, it was the experience. For me, it was the connections. For me, it was putting myself in a position where I'd be able to compete against people who are better than me, and I love that. Did I think that I was gonna win? No. Did I win? Yes.
I like that. That's the energy.
Right? But that's the way it goes sometimes, and I'm just very, very grateful. So, yeah, that's what happened.
Ooh.
I want to mention something. Yeah, through the process, like most people will probably look at it and say you don't want to do it, and you find yourself winning. I know with that one thing that you didn't mention. I know for a fact it takes commitment and discipline.
Yes.
Can you talk about that specifically?
Yeah, you are literally nothing without discipline, because you're just never going to. You have to. If you have discipline, you are able to do the things that you know you need to do, even when you don't want to do it, right? Because a lot of people are like, I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. That's cool too. There's a lot of beauty in that also. But the reality is we all have goals that we want to get to. We all have things that we want to do, and you're not always going to feel up to it. Like, I didn't feel like competing with a whole bunch of other designers because I felt like I was already that bitch. Okay? And I was just like, I don't need to compete with the other designers. Tell me that I am, you know what I mean? But then I had to think of it in a different way. I had to change my mind, and say, you know what? Even though you don't feel like it, you're disciplined enough to do it, so why not? So, and then here we are.
Here we are.
Right?
There's a great quote from Inky Johnson where he mentions that commitment is staying true to what you say you're going to do long after the feeling has left your body, right? Because you always feel good about the things that you plan.
I have to repeat that one for them. Let
Commitment.
people hear that one.
That's a heavy one.
Right? Commitment is staying true to what you say you're going to do long after the feeling has left your body. And he also goes on to say, can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what it is that you're doing it for?
Woo.
It wasn't about 100,000, right? Not being attached to it. Because I'm sure that's what most people were in it for, the 100,000, being emotionally attached to the results. But can you be committed to what are the results, right? Can you be committed to what it is that you said you were doing long after the feeling has left your body?
Long after the feeling has left your body. Let me tell you something, and I'll be honest, and I don't know if I've ever said this on a show, so Motivation Mondays gets it first.
Jeez. Drop it for us.
But, bro, the feeling of designing left my body years ago. Left my body years ago. But I am committed to what I started. I'm committed to the goal, right? I'm not saying that I hate designing. I'm just saying it's not my number one thought. It's not what wakes me up in the morning any longer. It hasn't been for years. But I know that I'm good at it. I know that a lot of people are counting on me. And I know that I can do what I said that I wanted to do. So I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to move on, right? So what Max is saying is heavy, because I know this is not a relationship podcast at all, but even when it says commitment, it goes on in relationships, in business, in everything. And the reason why we have so much catastrophe with relationships now is because people cannot hold on to the commitment that they made long after those butterflies and things, you know what I mean? They're not remembering, no, you committed, right? So it's not, because it's about to be a love channel, and you can't even do that. But that's heavy, like, so true.
And that's the take-home message, because I know so much people are inspired to start things, especially through the pandemic, and they'll get deterred through whatever it is. So for the viewers out there, if you're starting something and you felt good about it in 2020, and now you're getting to 2022, lockdown, I mean, it's lifting as of tomorrow, but I'm not. It's kind of like he's the motivational speaker, but he's not too optimistic. But I'm here to remind you that you will face obstacles, and don't let that deter you. Yeah. Right? But you got to remember the mood that you set it in. Be committed, stay disciplined, and eventually you get the results. And it's never about the results, about the process. Right? The process, what you encounter. That's why we tell everybody, welcome all the experiences, right? You never know which one is going to turn your life around. Yeah. Right? It's these things that you learn through it that's able to take you to other places.
It's so true. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, then you got here. It's like, congratulations. Like, the congratulations is the very last
Trust
part.
me.
Like, everyone's like, oh, you got a feature on here. That is the last part of it. Everything that was happening up until this moment, that's the meat. That's the good stuff in the middle, So I agree with you 100%. Those are where all the gems are kept. So you can't wish away any moment of your life. You can't.
And this is why this podcast works so perfect. Like Max, the speaker, he drops gems during the week on his story, TikTok, through videos, and we're about to turn things up a notch too. But when we talk during the week, it was crazy because I want to just, our family brought these mugs for us. Athlete Tech Group, shout out to Randy in the studio.
Shout
He
out
has
to
an
Randy
event
in the studio.
coming up, Athlete Women Empowered. And even when he started this brand, he used to play basketball, and he was able to pivot. He got injured. I'm not gonna go too much into detail, but he took like the love of basketball, even though he was injured, like the injury ended everything, and he created this brand, Athlete Tech Group, which is now one of the biggest tech companies in Canada.
Shout out to Athlete Tech Group one time.
And he's bringing all the athletes around the world, and he's created an app that we're actually, we're gonna talk about it later because we got something for you too. We'll talk later, but that's right here. Nice. But it's just sometimes you pivot into things without knowing what it's gonna be, even if the love is gone. I'm pretty sure he loves basketball. Even me, there's so many things that we're doing. Max, we can speak about it, but it's like we've been doing this literally for 93 weeks straight.
I love
when
that.
The pandemic started.
I love it.
And it was just like, because he was helping me, I'm like, yo, if you're helping me like this and it's changing my life, my credit's changing, I got my credit card back.
Ooh,
I need
credit too?
Credit. Yo, I'm gonna touch 720 just the other day. 720. I got a little email that came up saying, yeah. No, but literally, I wasn't afraid. I sat down with him in the McDonald's. He gave me his time. I showed up a little late. I was cheesed. But, he gave me his time, broke down, talked to me about some stuff, and he literally changed my life around, got some investments and things going on. And I'm so happy I made that decision. One decision can literally change everything for you.
Yeah, I love that. That's bomb.
You mentioned what's it called? One thing that you mentioned also with Randy is passion and purpose. I think sometimes people get confused trying to chase a dream to try to fulfill a purpose. But if you're good at what it is that you're doing, you can still eventually get to that end goal of having a purpose. If it is to change life, if it is to bring awareness to whatever it is that you're doing, can you talk about exactly what is your passion? What's your, not so much as your end goal, but what's your purpose? What keeps you going?
Deep question.
Yeah, because I'm still learning, I'm still figuring it out.
Good job, let me tell you.
And that's the thing about it. I just want to throw that in. Life is a continued process of learning. You're never going to have it figured out. You're never going to have it figured out. Never going to. And if you do, go figure something else out. When you get to the top of the mountain, find a bigger mountain.
Right?
That's what it is.
So quick. Like, there's such a big life. You have a life ahead of you. And like, I don't believe that there's one single thing that you are here to do. I feel like, you can do so much. But for me, when it comes to like my purpose or what keeps me going, you said what keeps me going. For me, my family keeps me going. I'm very much a family girl. I really had a heavy burden of, not burden, it's not like my parents did it on purpose, but my parents were not wealthy. I grew up hearing a lot of arguing and a lot of financial issues, and that stressed me as a child. And I think I grew up just wanting to relieve them of that. And and so that's what's really kept me going. It's just like, there's little tweets and messages. People are always like, oh, like, your parents are still working. Like, your parents are still working. You're not, like, which is not entirely true because, I hate to put pressure on people that way. But for me, it's true. For me and how I think of it is just like, I want to give my parents the choice, right? I don't want them to be in their 60s still hustling, and here I am in pretty court. A pause, like it's just not my style. And I just want to be able to put my people and my circle, my friends, whether that be my siblings, in the position to make their own, to make their own money. That's really what drives me.
And I love that you touched that. We're gonna get into Deddys Kitchen because that was started in the pandemic. And then you went to Ghana. We're all in Ghana together, all three of us as well too. But I seen, and I know you love your family a lot because when you came back, you actually made me feel bad because you came back and brought your whole family stuff. She brought outfits. I was like, damn. I was watching the story. Like, maybe I had to do. I'm like,
you were too busy being, the voice. Like that's your home. So don't feel bad. I'm the Jamaican girl. It's the first time I ever went there. So of course, I have to bring back I want to take.
So let's talk about that Deddys Kitchen, which was started in the pandemic, and here you are putting your family on. And I went to the YouTube page the other day. I'm like, I remember when this started. I was like, how the hell did it get here? But let's talk about what Deddys Kitchen is, how it started, and then we'll branch from there.
So Deddys Kitchen started in the pandemic. I believe that that Deddys Kitchen is a baby that belongs to like my audience and our greater audience, because they were the ones who forced it down my throat. They're like, if you don't start a YouTube channel for this man, because what was happening is the pandemic happened. We were all like, wait, so the world's shutting down? The world shut down. Okay, perfect. The world shut down. And we were all kind of scrambling because there's no restaurants. Enough of us love to eat our road. We don't like to cook. Our generation can barely cook. And so I figured, oh, this is the perfect time now that I'm stuck at home and I can't run about the place to learn how to cook. And so I started just sharing it on my story. Literally, I was just trying to help people pass the time, showing people what I do in my kitchen. My father is a chef, and you know, he's cooked our whole life. You know, he's not the only one who's cooked. My older sister cooked, my mom cooked, but my dad is a chef. So I was just like, okay, let's share whatever. He was out of a job. You know, he was laid off. And so we just started, and literally, suddenly my views for my stories were in numbers that I had never seen before. And I was like, okay, so people are sharing this all over and people want to see more. And then the messages started coming in and they're like, listen, it needs to be on YouTube. I need to be able to pull it up whenever, like, do it. And at that time, you see me, a big designer, I'm like, you don't have time to do no cooking show on YouTube. But I had to humble myself and really just like think about what this meant, right? And I was like, okay, God, if you can give me the space and the patience and the team and the people I need, then I will do it. So literally, I just started filming with him and we started putting it out there. We just kept consistent. I said, Daddy, I'm not going to start a YouTube channel if it's not going to be consistent, because I already know how this works. Not like I'm unaware of how social media works. I know, especially for YouTube, consistency is key. And if you're not consistent, you're not going to see what you want.
I have to repeat that one again.
So that's the first rule. It's like, don't even get on YouTube if you're not going to go ham. Like, if you're not gonna go in there and come and collect your check, don't go on there. Doesn't make any sense, because you're just gonna be playing around. And YouTube is hard. It's not like it. You know, it takes time to edit, and it's tedious. And you can be in front of a computer editing one thing for the entire day. Like, you have to be dedicated. So I had to figure out a plan, and I did, and it took off, and here we are, Deddys Kitchen.
Over, I believe, what is subscriber count for that?
Just under 300K subscribers in less than.
It's kind of crazy, because I watched it from the stories. I remember seeing it, and you know, I think pandemic. We had this Randy, what do we used to call it? This fitness, this pandemic, Corona fitness. So that's what we had, this Corona fitness class, and we had to show our meals every day. So I know it's not easy, but people love food. People love to see it. And you know, I just got a little idea that I think we can do, because we do need a YouTube social media class. So I think Training Ground Motivation Mondays idea just popped up. So I think we can do that.
I will say, if you can get into food in any way, when it comes to YouTube, do it. Like, food, people love food, and it's international. It doesn't matter. Like, it does not matter. Everyone likes food, and I think that's why Deddys Kitchen did so well. I think if we were talking about fashion, it would not be where it is. You know what I mean? Because fashion is, although a lot of people love to dress well, there's a lot of people who
cultural difference,
right? But everybody cares about food. Everyone wants something good in front of them, whether they're vegan, whether they're Black, white, Asian, whatever. And so I think if you can tap into a space where you can involve food and recipes for any channel, and I say go for it. And I feel like Motivational Mondays could do that.
Basic human needs is food. That's one thing you cannot take away. And we talked about YouTube, because for most of our audience, not everybody is on YouTube, but you know, it's not about going on YouTube every day. It's about what it is that you want to do, right? Because success is nothing more than a few disciplined practice each and every single day, right? So you gotta stay the course, right? So whatever it is, success is nothing more but a few disciplined practice each and every single day.
Yeah.
So stay the course, whatever it is, consistency.
Yes.
And like, it's crazy. Like, sometimes you don't. You've been your dad. I saw he was on TV. The show got on TV. So you're doing you're putting the family on. And how does he feel about that? Like, how was it for him? Because me, I can't go to my parents right now and no way, Jose. Like, you know, if you're my African, there's no way, Jose. My mom cooks every day. It's not happening. She don't.
That's what you think.
Mm.
That's what you think.
Well, you would have time for that. I mean, have time.
Right? Like you have to ease it in. My thing is, I love my parents. That's another thing. Like I actually like, I make a mind. I make I'm very intentional with the time that I spend with them. You know, I understand through other people's experiences that our parents can be here today and gone tomorrow. I understand that, and that is terrifying to me. And so I make a conscious effort to spend time with them. So if I'm able to create memories with them that are recorded that I can look back at, and whatever it may be, and I'm still helping people put food on their tables and learn how to cook. There's so many women who are like, oh, my boyfriend, now I can cook for him. There's so many boyfriends who are like, oh my God, I just cooked my first meal for my girl. Like, you know, they're thanking Daddy in the DMs, and like, it's like really, really, you know, it's bigger than just, so, yeah.
Sometimes it's how it goes too, and kudos to you. I mean, like, I'm even in, like, I always rewatch the stuff, but I'm gonna rewatch this and take my notes and my think that, because we're learning, we're building too. Yeah. We just started our YouTube page, I believe, in October. So, you know, we're trying to figure out how to grasp, because our slogan is making the uncool cool while realizing it's you versus you. So we understand this conversation is not the cool thing to talk about, but we're trying to find a way to make it cool.
To make it cool.
No, that's Max's slogan right there. So it's like,
we're
trying to, like, boom, we're about to touch 1,000 people on followers, but we're just under 200 on YouTube. So we're trying to, like, but it's like you said, we got to be consistent.
Yeah,
we got to push out there.
You got to, all when you don't see, even when someone is like, back in my blogger days, I was 19. I'm 31 now. When I was 19, I would be writing and it was like no one was watching me. I'd be writing these long things like, and I feel like this and I feel like that, and I'd be like, nobody, like, no views, no comments, and I didn't care. I just kept on doing it. I just kept on doing it, kept on doing it until one day it was like 15 comments, and I'm like, how did that happen? And then it was 100, and then, like, you know, it just, you have to be consistent even when you don't see the results that you're looking for. You have to keep on going, because you know that eventually you're gonna get there. And
I wanna, you know, I gotta give a big shout out to our bro Wavy over there, Wavy Digital Media Group.
Wavy in the building.
He's the one who holds us down with all the edits and stuff. So when you were talking about that, I know it's like, I was like, it was hitting home, but he holds us down with all the edits and stuff.
Wavy is putting in a lot of work.
You know what I mean? So you gotta, I don't take it for granted, and you know, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
I want to get into, how was you and your team? How did you get your team together? I know you've had a few business partners, you have a manager, assistant, things like that, and your brand has taken off to, like, you know, on magazines, you're a cover girl, like, there's so many things happening, but, like, how does it work with you and your team?
So I don't have a manager. Okay. I've never had a manager before. I manage myself. But I do have an assistant. You know, I realized 2 years ago that in order for me to take my brand to the next level, I'm going to have to stop acting like I can do everything, because I can't. You know, people started to hate me because I wasn't responding. I'm still kind of not responding, guys. I'm sorry. But I'm trying to make it. My thing is, like, I'm one person and I have so many platforms and I have so many messages coming in at once. So it's tough, right? And maybe if I did have a manager, it would help. But, you know, baby steps. But yeah, like 2 years ago, I realized that I needed an assistant, a creative assistant, someone who would be able to help me just act on all of the creative ideas that I have and really just, like, support me in that way. So, you know, I met Michael, and Michael is amazing and I adore him and he's the greatest. And then, so for Deddys Kitchen, I realized, I was like, listen, I am not going to be able to sit down and edit these videos every single day for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I'm gonna have to figure out someone who would be interested, who's good at this, who does this quickly, who would be interested in making some money and getting the experience. And I found her. So then I found Shay. And it's funny because, you know, I worked with someone before who was a terror. Like, he was terrible. Like, and so it's not like you just work with these people and then you're like, oh, they're perfect, right? As a boss, you start to get really comfortable understanding that firing is important, because that's the only way.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
It's the truth, but it's the only way that you can get to the next level with your brand, right? A lot of people get really emotionally connected to people, and the reality is if they're not giving you what you need in order to get to the next level, you gotta let them go. So for me, I had to get really comfortable because I'm such a lover. I had to get really comfortable with people seeing me in a light where maybe I wasn't the nicest lady, you know? Um, so yeah, so I had to do some firing, but it's led me to the best team that I have right now. And those are the people that I really want to like love down. Like I want to change their lives. I want money to not be an issue for them. Like when I get on, like they're good, you know, and they know that. So um yeah, like it's a process, but you have to not be afraid to let people go. So that you can find the people who are willing to get in there and be like, yo, this, right? Because I'm a straight shooter. That was so corny.
No, but hey, athlete tech, we're talking about athletes. You threw it in there. You're good.
But really, like, I'm not really here for the long talking because my mind doesn't work like that. I just got to know that we're going to do this, we're going to do it well, and then we're going to move on to the next.
At the beginning, you talked about doing it by yourself. I think that's how you actually value the team members that you have, because so many people form team, and sometimes from that perspective, you don't realize how much the other person is contributing. That's how a team also falls apart, right? Because you take full accountability for what your team does, right? If your team fails you, you cannot go to the partnership or the people you're working with and said so and so. They do not care.
It's me,
right? So
exactly.
It's so important that when you're forming your team, you see the value in others, right?
Yes.
And with any team, you have the odd one out, the people that don't contribute a whole lot. It's Price's laws, one of the natural laws. It's the square root of the people that contribute. So some of these things it is what it is. So you gotta take full accountability for everything that happens to you, what you're allowed to happen to you.
Yeah, what you allow to happen to you. Because sometimes it's the signs you see and you're like, oh no. Like for me originally, like I had an editor before and I was like, okay, like, you know, he's totally giving me attitude right now, but maybe he's just stressed out. You know, or like he would be like, you know, he would try to scam me out of some money. I'm like, okay, maybe it's just because bills are low. I was like, no. Then one day I was like, bye, like gotta go, you know. And in that time I was feeling so bad about it because I was like, oh no, like, you know, and you know what, you're supposed to support it.
Nice people finish last.
Nice people finish last. I finished last.
That's gonna be a TikTok right there. You know, man. I'm telling you that.
I've been in so many of those last place spaces because I was too busy trying to remind people that I'm the nicer one or this. People don't give a shit. They don't.
It's true.
You gotta do what you gotta do for yourself as long as we're not harming people.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do. If you gotta be cutthroat, if you have to set your face like, set your. Period, and move on. And
you know, I gotta shout my team in the building, to Lisa and Abby. Like I had to apologize to them the other day in our we have a daily task group. I went to All-Star Weekend, and you know, sometimes when you're around the greats, and you like, I shook Michael Jordan's hand. I'm here on the court, and I'm like, yo, like I'm trying to make, God, what are you telling me? What are you teaching me? And I had to look, okay, I have an assistant, I have a manager. How am I really using this to help build what we're doing? Am I communicating every day? And I sat back and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing the best I could do. So I just had to literally apologize to them and be like, yo, honestly, I want to switch my mind up and I want to get to it. And they can attest to it. Since All-Star Weekend, I'm on point, my to-do list. I'm like, bro, however we're doing this schedule. And it's like, it happens to us. We go through the good and the bad. Like, you know, bro, the pandemic's about to be 2 years. And Max Week, it's been rough. It hasn't been easier. We come in here every Monday. We're dealing with we're motivating ourselves too. But you know, we said we're gonna commit to something, so here we are staying committed. Like,
and I'm proud of you guys. This is amazing. Like, you should be really, really proud of yourself, and it's gonna only get bigger and better. Like, period.
You have no choice.
It's y'all. Yes. Like, come on.
I want to talk about your Ghana trip. Your first time going to Ghana. And I seen that after New Year's you went to a beach, and I want to talk about understanding self because tears came down your eyes. So it was a real sentimental moment for you. Let's speak about that. What the trip was for you, how it went, and that specific moment.
So Ghana really changed my life. It sounds really corny, I know, because like we tired of hearing people say something changed their life. The reality is, it changed my life. It really, really did, because it was the first time that I had been somewhere, and don't get me wrong, because Jamaicans are gonna be like, "Oh gosh, yeah, stop." Jamaica, I love Jamaica. There's no place in this world like Jamaica, okay? And I am a Jamaican that is full of pride, trust me.
All of you guys. Number one Jamaican, that's that.
Right, we're full of pride. But I will say that Ghana did something different to me, right?
My shoulders.
it did something different. And it could be that because it's where we are from. And if you know, you know.
You know.
Right? It could be that, because there's something that I feel also whenever I get to Jamaica, I like to take off my shoes and put my feet on the dirt. And something happens in that moment. Like you just feel like you're connected, right? When you do that in Ghana, something different happened. So when we were on the beach, and that was the first time that we had gone out, got dressed up, it was New Year's Eve, and it was my first time spending New Year's Eve in another country, in another place, much less the motherland. So I'm there, and we party into the wee hours of the morning. The sun is rising, okay, so it's sunrise, and we're by the water, and literally there was just like this presence that was there that I had never experienced in my life. Like never. Closest thing I could explain to it is like, if you're a Christian kid, Holy Ghost. Like that's the closest comparison that I could feel. And but it was so freeing. It was like, I was like, holy, it's almost like a veil was like lifted from my eyes. For the first time, I was in a place where I was like, wow, like there is so much beauty here, and this is where I could be. Like this is where I could live outside of all of these Western dreams. Like as I was, there in Ghana for weeks, I was there for almost a month, and all of these Western dreams that I thought that I had, that were what we should aspire to be, this, and we should do this, and we should attain this, all of it just fizzled away. I was like, holy, I could dream different dreams. Like I could want different things. I could attain so much more. I could help so much more people if, I spent more time here, or if I don't know. It was just a very life-changing experience. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
And Max was born in Ghana. So how do you feel being born in Ghana? Coming like I'm gonna let him take this.
Well, most people know the story. Same thing, kind of similar. Is it wasn't until I went back home for the first time I had the realization and the light turned on, because there's so much things that we take for granted being in the West, and 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 it was just the same thing, kind of like for me. Like I am from there, and he kind of gave me the reminder. To my late brother who passed away, he always used to say, "You only hear by chance." Right, and I was looking at some of my childhood friends who are still in Ghana, some of the conditions that you're in, and how I was living my lifestyle. How if it was financing or even just education, how I wasn't taking my quote unquote serious, not even serious, but not living to my full potential, I should say, right? Because life is serious, right? So it wasn't until that moment I went back and I had a realization myself, because it hadn't been, I think, 20 years or so. So it was in that moment, and I realized, okay, I gotta stop kidding myself. I'm more than what I pretended to be. Yeah. And I had that woke up.
And we've been sold a lie here also. A lot of people realize, and I'm sorry, like you just have to be honest with yourself. As Black people, we need to smarten up and realize we're being sold a lie. All of this credit that you're trying to, all of this, it's all a scam. All of it is, us working our asses off to then eventually just attain crumbs and then die. We don't have to live like that. We need to take all of the things that we've learned from this land and bring it back to Africa and build up Africa, because you don't see in the Ukraine right now, they're blocking Black people from escaping. Every day before it was go back to your country, but suddenly when war and shut us off, you can't leave, right? So you have to understand, Black people are always left in the end. We need to be amongst each other, and we need to build up where we are from and stop coming over to these countries and building up their countries and making the people them stuff their lies down our throat, because we shouldn't have to beg for a piece of the pie. We are the pie.
That's
and everybody knows that. So, but I mean, that's for another conversation.
And the people are going crazy in the comments. I'm so sorry. I seen questions. I can't even scroll up. So if you have a question, please, there's a question box over there. And it actually reminds me, because
we've got to take some questions the last 15 minutes, because I know we've been talking about a lot of topics. And
please put them. I saw them, but I to scroll right now would be. And what's funny? Like we were talking about the other day in our group chat, Motivation Monday. I was like, okay, it's Black History Month. We're having a guest. Let me get some breakfast in the studio. And I was telling my boy Randy, like, we're having it, and he's like, I'm gonna get them Timmy's. He's like, yo, why don't he's like, yo, I'll sponsor the breakfast for the team.
Randy is that guy.
Yeah, he hit up Small Touch and
shout out Small Touch. She's
Shout
in there.
out Small Touch.
I seen her. I think you guys. She mentioned something about my grandma.
Her grandma. Yeah, her mom and grandma's always tuned in. So you know when he said that, he's like, yo, let me make sure I get a black owned business, because I asked everyone tomorrow, I'm like, what do you guys want from Timmy's? And he's like, yo, let's just go to black owned business. Boom, met up. And here we are today, and we're gonna he just texted me, he's gonna chop up some of this. He has an app as well too, Training Ground app, so it's an educational space. So there's a lot that's gonna come out of this platform by you joining us and being here with us today. But please guys, don't there's been talking about that all weekend. Yeah, put the questions in the question box. It has the you see where it says the question mark right there? Put it in there. People are so proud of you. Yeah, give her flowers. We're giving you your flowers. This is what this platform is about.
Thank you, guys.
And I'm even I can't wait to rewatch this.
I can't wait to rewatch it.
There's gems.
There's gems in here.
And it's gonna be available on all streaming platforms, podcasts, Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. And everybody do me a favor, make sure you're subscribe to our YouTube channel, because I think this might be the episode that's gonna make us go we're gonna chop it up and get. Yeah, I think this is gonna be the episode.
So much pressure.
Yeah, no, you set it off already. From when you came, when I saw the look, I said, it's not a game. I had to go get a lineup. Shout out to the barber next door. I saw Max coming spinning. I said, yo, wow, I'm on right now.
Went and got a lineup.
Yo, you guys don't even know. I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to the States on Friday, so I'm like, let me wait till Thursday. Yo, inflation, everything I go up right now. Prices is crazy.
Price might be different on Friday.
Trying to save our money, but you have to do for the branding.
You got some questions?
There we go. Let's pop it up right there. Love you guys for this. 3 questions already. First one are so this one I'll do this one first, because this is just a compliment. They say this is from Healthy Beauty Couture. We are proud of you, coming from the family. So there's not a question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Let's get to this question right here. The first question we have is, what are some important business initiatives to take when starting in the social and influencer realm?
What are some business
initiatives to take when starting in the social/influencer realm?
I would say when we talk about influence, I'll say be yourself. Do what you will do, even if you weren't getting paid for it. Right? There's a crowd for it. And then we often encourage people that if you can't find that crowd, create that crowd. Yeah. People are always looking for a space to fit in or where they could find customers. I say start a group, start a YouTube page, start a Facebook group, go on LinkedIn, connect with the right people. So I think is that we all try to fit in the same box. We're all unique individuals. Yeah, but it's like everybody wants to hit. Like, what do I gotta do? I gotta start cooking so I can get YouTube views. But maybe cooking is not for you. Exactly. Maybe it could just be a small knitting, whatever it is that you like. Go and shopping, whatever, vlog it, pick up your camera. And when we talk about an influence culture.
Yeah, 100%. You want to look into how you can influence the culture rather than how you can flow within what's already here, right? You just go your way. I think the reason why I've been successful, if you would consider me successful in influencing or whatever.
You just win 100K from shit about thinking about.
Well, that was my design ability.
But it's still the influencer in you.
Thank you. I feel like you have to be okay with going your own way. It excites me when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do something. Like, I don't try to do something different. I just am different than other people, just like you are, and I lean into that difference. I always lean into that difference, because usually there's someone who's waiting for someone to relate to that has that same difference. But if you keep on going the way all the other girls are going, then it's boring.
Yeah, it's tough. Be first or be different.
Facts. Yeah. And I'd even say, just in the fact that you're even here on this platform, you're investing your time. Not everything is tangible with money. Time is not money. We don't get that back. Yeah. So you even investing your time to be in the platform, to share this information. You could be anywhere in the world right now. You could be listening to any podcast right now, watching any YouTube, but here you are getting the gems.
But it's MC Ebo.
Oh, stop it. We're here, man.
We
stop from
could I be anywhere else?
That's why we love you, man. And that's why so after you even come here, there's more blessings coming on the way already that you have no idea. That we have some, athletes. I'm not gonna talk, Randy. I can't talk too much about it. I'm gonna save it for later.
Randy's lock your lips.
Let me not say too much, but now I'm so about empowering our community. More questions are coming in, so let me.
Yeah, let's
what the question are, man? Like this, because me, I tell people all the time, Don't be afraid to ask questions. If I didn't sit down and ask Max all these questions, trust me,
Oh.
I don't even know where I'd be.
Yeah.
And I was
So
lost.
you shall find, yeah.
I was lost.
Yeah.
So this question here is Rooted Life Shop. I would love to have you model my t-shirt. You are so inspirational and I'm in your early stages. And I'm in the early stages currently.
Okay.
Hit up the DMs, hit up the emails.
So yeah, you can always send to my PO box. Sorry.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's okay because you're pulling me with you. It's okay. I'm like, why am I going left? It's okay. Don't worry. Yes. No. So
Nice
I'm
jacket,
gonna post. Thank you. I'm gonna post my PO box again today on my story. And when you can screenshot it, and you can always send me some stuff to my PO box. And if I'm feeling the designs, I will definitely what I gotta do and support you. I want to support. Yeah. Congratulations, and I'm excited for you.
And even talking about that brand, how is it like collaborating with a big brand, the #1 brand in the world, and seeing people buy your stuff? And you do a great job with your content. Sometimes you stress me. Sometimes I'm like, you go travel, come back, and bing, bing, bang. And I don't know, women. That's why I feel like everybody needs women in their team. You guys have this different aura that you bring to everything that you do. But
Yeah,
how was that?
So sorry. The question was.
How was it collaborating with Shein to sell your clothing?
It was amazing. Like it was, it taught me a lot. It got me to realize, okay, this is how bigger brands deal with certain things like this, and it made me realize that they're not so out of reach, right? I think for a long time, like you think, oh, they're a big brand, like they're never gonna see me. Oh, they see you. They see you. They just might be ignoring you. They may not think that your content is up to par or on the level to even work with, so they're just not going to say anything to you. But if you're on a level and you have a vibe about you, you can even get their attention too. So,
well said. And before we go, because I know you have a next meeting, and we want you to enjoy some of the small touch that we brought to you. Thank you, Rose, to Small Touch family as well, too, Training Ground family.
Shout out to Small Touch.
If you could tell your younger self something right now with everything you've been through in life, what would you tell them? What would you tell that your younger version?
I would just say it gets better, honey. It gets so much better. And luckily, you have a strong head on your shoulders. You're going to see many things. You're going to experience many things. You're going to help many people. And you're going to be happy, and your family will be loved.
Max, any last words before we get out of here?
Take the home message. I'll say self-esteem, confidence. Within yourself. One of the slogans that we talk about is all starts within the battle grind. When you wake up every morning, this is how you decide to attack the world. And just be inspiring. Go make a change. Right. Find your why. Make sure your why is powerful. If the why is powerful, the how is nothing.
No. You're right.
I love the energy people are coming. This one says, this is not a question. This is just to get your attention. I love you, and I need you to not forget that we need to connect. This is Jared Creates. So.
Jared Creates. Okay. All right. Okay.
Now the name is noted.
Yes.
You got the attention. Now the name is noted.
And I encourage everybody before we go, please, because like I said, I feel like this is the episode that's gonna take us where we need to. So head to our YouTube channel right now. You can click the link in our bio. Motivation Mondays live. And we're trying to think, but I think this episode is what I needed. I needed this. Perfect way to end the month. And look at that, the shortest month of the year. And we're here. Tomorrow's a new month. Mandates will get left with.
Yeah.
Things are coming back to normal.
Slap with that.
You know what I mean? So we're getting back to a little normal. But the world is a crazy place. So, I always tell people, treat others like you would want to be treated. You know what's so funny? The barber was telling me today, he's like, yo, it's always good. He's like, because he's like, yo, I know who you are. I always want to speak to you. But he's like, it's always good to be nice. And he was telling me a time that he saw me at a party, and I just blessed him up. So he felt, I was like, yo, how much for the car? He's like, no, I got you.
Wow.
Go do your show, I got you. And he's like, yo, it's always good to be nice, because you never know who's who.
Yeah. Kindness doesn't cost you anything. So if you're going around being rude, check yourself. Okay? Check yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. Mic drop. This is Motivation Monday, episode 21 with Flaza Couture. Sasha, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Making the uncool cool while realizing it's
you versus you.
And I don't know. We have one more question. I might just
listen, don't pressure them. I'm okay.
All right, don't worry. We're not. We're gonna save this up.
See you guys next week. We appreciate your love and support.
Peace and love, everybody.